It is time for another Sunday Sickos here in June. And it's a special day because you need to queue up your Enrique Iglesias. We are going to be looking for a hero RB build today in a Best Ball Mania tournament. Let's just get right into it. Man, it is popping in here early this morning. Good morning to Peppertino, Carl's, Josh, Olaf's in here. Disbanded. We're just popping off early. So we are going to just jump right into this tournament. As I said today, we are going to try to knock out a hero RB build. That's kind of been one of my two main builds in all these tournaments. So let's just jump into a BBM right away. No fluff. Get right into it. And of course, something goes wrong with Underdog. So that is great. But we're in. We need 8 people. So good thing we jumped in because we're going to have to wait a little bit for some people to show up. And while we're doing that, let's go ahead and get us a nice little overlay so you guys can see pretty much everything that's going on screen. We only need 2 more people in this Best Ball Mania. 1 person, 2 people. It's going back and forth, but we're 3. Jesus, what are you guys leaving? Are you guys scared to draft with me when I'm telling you what I'm going to do. I'm Larry Bird on the court right now, telling you that I'm going to fake left, roll right, and just do a layup right in front of your face. Is that what's happening right now? Get in this draft. Just get in here. Let's get this going. So we are filled now. Let's see where we end up. We end up at the 7 here. I see Moxie in here. Let yourself be known if you're in here ready to do this draft. We'll start queuing up some music. We'll hang out. Good morning, Al. Good morning, Versier. I snipe Bryce Young. Probably. That's what we're going to have to do. Kevin's at the 8 spot. My phone is blowing up right now. It's blowing my phone up. Yes, I have to actually answer this because it is about going somewhere today. Yeah, so let's see. Black Muddy River is in the 4-hole. So people are in. People are here at the 6. The draft is about to start. We should be able to see some of my exposures here. We do. Yeah, I updated that today. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. And we are going to play some music because it feels weird on a Sunday if we're not playing music, right? So let's get into the playlist. Oh my God, that is so loud. I forgot that I have to turn it down. I'm always a little off after a week of traveling. Oh, shout out to Moxie, by the way. Good call on Long Island. Long Island was a much better place to work for me. So that's between me and Moxie, I suppose. But thank you for that suggestion and taking that. That made my life a little bit easier this week, especially because I was super sick this week while traveling for work. Monday through like Wednesday was not great. Do not suggest traveling for work and being sick. Not my fave. Well. Wow. Someone in here's in the 6-0. There he is. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna ruin this for me? I don't think you can because I'm kind of gonna be fine with whichever way we go here. We are heavily weighted on our Bijan percentage right now, but we'll just continue to get overweight. We're at 23% and we just don't give a F. We're gonna draft a Bijan team. We're probably going to hero RB it, but we're going to see if we can do a... First year, I thought I was doing a Brees team, but we were doing a Bijan team. That's where we're at. That's what we're doing. Yes, so we're going to be looking to do this Bijan team. Don't snipe the stream host, Josh says. I agree. Good morning, Robert. Good morning, Anthony. Everyone just file in here. Let's draft a Best Ball Mania team. I am still a little behind on BBM teams. We'd like to be not as behind, but been doing a lot of drafters in that $2 tournament. If you want to get into that drafters $2 tournament, you are going to have to do it probably the next week and a half. That shit is filling quickly. I am having to jump in a lot of slow drafts quicker than I wanted to. I have like fill percentages like of the tournament that I was trying to enter a certain amount of teams, and 40,000 was my next 30 or 35, which we just hit. So I just jumped in another 30 something drafts, and once it hits 50, I'm getting in the rest of them. But it is just going absolutely bonkers. So that is something, if you're interested in, you're going to have to be doing quite soon. All right, so we do have a lot of Debo. Just see what we can pull off here. Let's see what Kev Mack does here at the 205. He grabs Ayuk. Let's do a build flip let's grab Malik Neighbors at the 205 for our first wide receiver. Touch of Green was in my draft earlier today when I was building out a Packers-Vikings thing. Yeah, I was trying to make sure that I wanted to get a pretty heavily correlated Packers-Vikings team right now, because I wanted to do, I think it was Justin Jefferson, Jaden Reed was like my core. I know I wanted to grab CJ Stroud late, but we had like a rogue drafter in there that was doing like some interesting stuff, and he grabbed CJ Stroud unstacked. But that didn't really matter to me too much because Jordan Love was the way I was looking to play it. So that was the game plan there. So that was a fun draft. Let's get the board back up here. My goal is to pull Malik Neighbors up a little bit, maybe get a little bit different pairing at wide receiver, since Nico is like an outlier for me in this range, but I already have so much Nico, especially with Bijan, that I felt like this was a time that I could pass up on taking Nico, jump to Malik Neighbors, who I want to get a little bit more of. I feel like I've been missing Malik Neighbors in BBM more frequently than I thought I would, so I want to grab him here and try to pair him with a different wide receiver than I've paired him with in the past, is the goal. So that is what I'm doing right now. ADP is going to be stagnant for the next month or so. So I think this is a good time to be mixing in some different combinations before we start to get more ADP shifting coming up. First here is trying to anticipate my round 5 or 6 selection, and we'll see. I think it's very early. I think we have a lot of avenues we can go with this team. I know what I would like to happen early, but just because we want things to happen doesn't mean that they're going to. And the whole point is to be able to sort of work your way around that a bit. Luckily, we can see the percentage. Do you guys need me to zoom in a bit on this? I might be able to. Is that a little bit better? You can still see the board. Another problem with traveling for work and having to break down my setup and bring it with me. So these are the things. These are the things that we have to deal with this stuff. So all right, that's the last text I have to send on this stream. So apologies for that. Not usually something I do, but I am heading to an event right after this. So trying to coordinate some stuff. All right. So we see Cooper Cup go. So here's an interesting spot we can take here. I would love to take Kyron, get this double RB build, especially with Kyron falling this late in the third. I think is just a mispriced situation. But if you look, we don't have a lot of Zay in the tourney at all. We don't have him at all with Malik Neighbors. That's kind of what we're looking to do with this pulling Malik Neighbors up, was to pair him with another wide receiver. So we're going to grab Zay Flowers here to get the Bijan Malik Neighbors Zay Flowers run out and go from there. First here is asking, what position shifts the most in the next month or so? QBs. Do you think we'll see all the elites get pumped to the second, third? I don't think so. In the next month, I don't think you're going to see much shifting. We're not going to get a lot of reports. Like, the biggest thing that could happen in the next month that I can think of, other than, you know, like crazy outlier stuff, which I don't even want to bring up. The only like plausible two things that could happen: one, we get the Rashee Rice suspension, which we're not going to get in the next month. But if somehow we did, which we won't, that could move him around a bit. And the other one is if the Ayuk trade were to happen, right? Because that could, I don't even know what you do at that point. Like, trade it to where you can't, I don't think you can move Ayuk up too much. Maybe a little, yeah. I'm still would be a little, I mean, I'd be fine taking him over like Harrison, right? But I still like Olave and Nico over him probably. But it was just the guy, but he's still going to just be in that tier. So like, what does it actually do? Right. So other than that, until we start getting some training camp stuff in the next month and start to actually do like find out who the second RB, sometimes a second wide receiver, you know, that could be that whole Pittsburgh situation, but I doubt that happens with Ayuk. I think that would be absolutely wish casting. But I don't think quarterbacks are going to move up. I think you actually might see quarterbacks continue, not the elite so much, but you might see like that Stroud fall from the 5th to the 6th continue to happen. I haven't even looked at what his current ADP is lately, but I know he's been going in the 6th a lot more. So you might just see little things like that. This is the next 3 weeks, contrary to what you might hear from other people. My personal opinion. We'll go over after our next pick. I'm going to grab Lamar. We're going to just do this Lamar, Zay Flowers stack. I'm okay with it. I was just trying to see if it made a ton of sense, and I think it does. Well, this is a crossover. Josh is saying, need a stream where we're playing a Resident Evil game on hardcore nightmare mode, and anytime you die, you got to draft an RB. I'm not sure if that's just a random comment or if you know that I actually do stream playing Resident Evil games. So either way, kudos to you. Maybe we'll figure something out with that. All right. So the point I was making is I think this is the time, the next 3 to 4 weeks is the time to Galaxy Brain some picks, especially your late round picks, because our information is going to be getting better soon. So we're going to be able to condense those late round picks. We can move them around the board a bit still, like we were doing last year. And we're still not going to have everything completely nailed shut, right? But we're going to get more and more reports coming out of training camp, preseason games, and that's going to condense our player market. So if you think that Jair Jordan is going to be the RB2 in Houston, right? And you can get him in the 18th round. You can get him on these variations of teams without the ADP movement. Maybe grab a couple of him. I'm not saying to be overweight on those guys, but if you think there's a percentile chance of him being that guy, then take some stabs on him. which I've been doing. I'm trying not to get super overweight. Tank Bigsby was a guy I was getting pretty overweight on early, but I've kind of peeled back a little bit. Did I consider taking McLaurin with the last 3 picks and to try to push Lamar? Yeah, I was actually considering. I think it was McLaurin or McBride there and trying to push Lamar, because if I push Lamar, I still know I'm not going to get the other Raven, right? So I was considering trying to push Lamar, especially with Josh Allen still on board. I don't think he would have came back to me, which I would have been fine with. We could still figure out things to do there. It's 50% Jawarjit, but no, dude, knock your socks off. I probably have a decent percentage. We might see it later. So we do see Mark Andrews go on the 5th, which was a way that I was planning on trying to go here, but I'm not upset about it. Like, if we didn't get Mark Andrews on this team, it's not the end of the world. We have the Zay Flowers stack. There's plenty of back-end Ravens that I am fine stacking up with. We can do some secondary stacks with Houston that I'm still good with. So the team is Bijan, Malik Neighbors, Zay Flowers, Lamar Jackson at the moment. Wouldn't be shocked about this, Kevin. I think that there's like this weird stink on Terry McLaurin's name that people don't like him, and I just take him every year. I don't think he's by any means like ever going to be a first round pick, but I think he's going to consistently be in this 4th to 7th round range for the next few years. So I'm fine with taking McLaurin. Don't do it. All right, we see Richardson go, which is good because I wanted to take Jaden Reed here. This is a guy. This is the main guy that I'm targeting right now in the 5th round. Is Jaden Reed, because I believe that Jaden Reed could actually move up of all these players. And I don't want to say it on stream, but we have to. We have to be honest. I think that you might see Jaden Reed rise up to somewhere in this 3rd round range. I think people are going to start looking at the board, and they're going to start hearing the camp reports. They're going to start seeing what Jaden Reed's doing at camp, and they're going to be like, why am I not taking Jaden Reed over Tank Dell, Amari Cooper, Michael Pittman, Cooper Kupp, Steph Diggs maybe. DJ Moore might be that dividing line. So I think that you might start seeing a 3rd round Jaden Reed in a month or so. So I'm trying to get a healthy dose of Jaden Reed right now mixed in with some of these early players. Even though I'll still take him when he's in the 3rd round, most likely, I want to make sure that I am overweight with him in this 5th round range. I know he's a divisive player, but so is Debo, and I'm not completely comparing the two, but just because their game isn't what we are typically looking for, the dude just balls, right? Like, sometimes you just gotta look at the charts, right? Does the dude ball chart? And Jaden Reed balls out on the field. The Lambeau field, where it gets cold, but he still cooks in the cold. We are tired. We have traveled. We are streaming. We're getting ready to go to Providence, which is probably a mistake, but we're going to do it. So that's where we're at. We'll be coming back on the clock here in a second. But I just think he's an outlier. I think if you look at all these guys, and I love Terry McLaurin, the guy we were talking about, of all these guys, to me, Jaden Reed is the outlier in this spot. And we see it every year. We see the 5th round wide receivers just really matter every year, even with the shifting tone of the position. 2 years ago, the 5th round is where you won. You won tournaments in the 5th round 2 years ago with wide receivers. And it's a bit different this year, but I think instead of having a plethora of wide receivers who want to draft in the 5th round, I think there is just a glaring outlier right now. So that's what we're going to target. All right, we are back on the clock here. Let's grab. We have so much Rashee Rice, and with all these players, we might grab Kittle here. I think that's what we're going to do. I think we're going to get our tight end. I think we're going to grab George Kittle and be fine with it. And I think we're just going to be a little wonky in this draft. I think we're going to be out of our comfort zone a little bit here and there. Is there another unstacked Stroud? Happened earlier today, too. So you went Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Pittman, Derrick Henry, James Cook with CJ Stroud. So, he's got that Stroud Henry correlation, though. I am always interested to see what unstacked Stroud drafters do, because I feel like he is the hardest. It's like him and Hurts, right? Off the top of my head. Hurts, obviously, if you grab him unstacked, which I've done because he's fallen a few times, and then you just really have to go Dallas Goedert at that point. Stroud is the other guy that it's like, well, if you're grabbing unstacked Stroud is a tongue twister, then you need to really be looking at grabbing Dalton Schultz. It's as simple as that. So he becomes a bit more of a priority, which means you have to pull him up a bit, which I'm not against, especially in that range. But I hate having to make that a priority, because that alters the rest of your draft. Because if you're sitting here, you grab Stroud, unstacked somewhere in the 6th round, and you're getting a falling tight end that you wanted to grab, and now he's not there. I don't know, man. It's just doesn't feel great to put yourself in those spots. Kevin says he's kind of fine with Hurts, Allen, Lamar and stack just because of the rushing. It's harder and harder to stack their pass catchers without reaching. I agree on Hurts. Allen, I sort of agree with based on who I want to grab him with. I think it's still easy enough. Lamar, I completely disagree with. Josh saying that unstacked Stroud is the rake. A lot of people are saying that about the Stroud drafter. I think it's salvageable. I think you can do some stuff here and get a little unique, but I just think it's overall bad. It's just not the way I want to play the Stroud teams. So it's something that if I was going to do, it wouldn't be in a BBM to start. I would be doing this. I would be doing it maybe in a drafters tournament, some sort of cumulative scoring, if he falls enough where you just think that the points on a weekly basis are better. But this format, not doing it. Just not doing it. So something I would like to update on earlier thoughts of mine for BBM. I'm still doing this with some tournaments, but not BBM. I'm fading CMC and Tyreek in BBM for sure. I was feeding CD as well. I've kind of turned around on that. I'm going to draft CD now because I want access to that Dallas passing game, and I really think there's only 2 options for that, which is CD and Ferguson, that I want heavy numbers to, or close to heavy numbers to grab Dak. My Dak exposure is already going to be low because of the way that I'm playing that offense. So I think grabbing CD is going to be something I'm going to have to do in this tournament. So I'm going to have to backtrack on the CD one. I'm going to continue to fade Tyreek in all tournaments. CMC is very tournament specific for me. I'm grabbing him in eliminators, and I'm grabbing him on DraftKings, and I'm sprinkling him a little bit on drafters on the $2 one just to see what I like with that build. But I think I might just continue to fade him in the $15 tournament on drafters. So that's some stuff that I'm doing here. What about Stroud stacked with Mixon? Sure. I mean, if you got it, but he did not get this. Are we on the clock? We are on the clock. And we are in this zone of just RBs, and then it gets kind of ugly. So what I want to do is I want to grab Evan Ingram, and we're going to do a 2 tight end 2 elite tight end build with Evan Ingram and George Kittle. And that's the way I want to play this particular tournament. I told you we were going to get uncomfortable in this tournament. We're going to have to dig ourselves out of some stuff, but I'm okay with it. Yeah, I mean, I was fine with fading Lamb in the beginning for specific reasons. It wasn't anything against CD Lamb. It was what I wanted to do around CD Lamb, but I'm not going to be doing it in BBM by any means. So I think I can still do what I want to do, fading CMC and Tyreek Hill. And you can kind of say that fading any of those guys is kind of nuts, but it's the way I want to play it. So that's how we're going to play it for this year, and live with the reap the benefits and live with the the results of what happens with that. I like taking stances. I like taking first round stances. I'm fine with that. That's going to lead to worse advance rates in certain years, and it's going to lead to better advance rates in certain years. So there are just certain ways that we all like to play it. Risk tolerance is a big thing in this game, and I think that is a risk I am generally willing to take. So sorry about that, Kevin. Sorry to grab Ingram on you there. So very uncomfortable. We don't like only having 3 wide receivers usually through this spot in the draft, but I think we are going to be okay. We are on the clock, and I just really love both Swift and Warren. I'm going to grab DeAndre Swift. Warren had a week 16 correlation, which, like, whatever. That's fine. I like it, but I like Swift a little bit more, and I think I want to make sure I'm getting my DeAndre Swift. Another guy that I think could rise up a round or two when preseason starts. I think that he's going to be a focal point of that offense, especially with a rookie quarterback, veteran running back. The Herbert situation is very unclear. So DeAndre Swift is a target of mine in these ranges, but in fairness, so is technically both of the Pittsburgh backs, but I do like Jalen Warren a little bit more, as you can see from my numbers on him. So those are other things that we are looking at. And we're going to check on a table tennis bet. Had a very good day betting on baseball yesterday. Not having a great day today. But alas, we will bet on baseball and we will win more money. All right, we're waiting on Knuckles to select here. While we're waiting on that, let's go over the team because it is a little unconventional for us. It's Lamar, Bijan, DeAndre Swift, Malik Neighbors, Zay Flowers, Jaden Reed, George Kittle, and Evan Ingram. So that is the way we have decided to play it. We have backed ourselves into a bit of a corner. I have players like this myself first here. He's saying he can't sell himself on Swift. He's really trying, but every click feels forced and not someone enjoying taking at current cost. So there really has to... I have these players as well. Rome Odunze is kind of one of mine for that particular reason. I've forced myself to get overweight, and now I'm sort of backing off a little bit and allowing myself to make sure I had a decent exposure. But if I come in underweight, I'm going to be okay with it. So you just have to kind of make those decisions. I just think that we are getting the perfect setup for Swift to have a good season. All right, let's go to our next song. And we'll be coming up on the clock soon. And got to dig ourselves out a little bit of the spot we put ourselves in. Knuckles has 5 RBs through 8 rounds. So he went Tyreek, Saquon, DK Metcalf, Travis Etienne, McLaurin, Rashard White, Kenneth Walker, Zamir White, Curtis Samuel. It'll be interesting to see if that's where he stays with RBs. Has a red badge, so he's drafted a lot. Doesn't always mean anything, especially now. So I'm going to be intrigued to see how he plays out the rest of that team. We are going to be on the clock here in a second. And I think we're going to get a little frisky here. I think we are going to do some things here. So I think we're going to take Jaden Daniels, and we're going to back ourselves into even more of a corner, understanding that we're doing that. So the onesies are locked up through the 9th round, which is not something that any of us usually do. But let's see what we can do. I might be donating myself here, but exactly, Cryeth. I think so. For me, he's just kind of a smash in that range. I think he, in this range where we're seeing, I mean, I like Ramondre a lot, but Ramondre is already gone, right? Like Ramondre is pretty much penciled in to going where he goes, which is like right after Aaron Jones, like right here. And then really this Zach Moss area after Aaron Jones and Ramondre is how most drafts play out, where it's Moss, Brooks, Harris, Swift, Connor, Warren, Zamir, sort of like leapfrogging each other in drafts. And I think if we start looking at this range, who is the most likely to break out and have like a massive ceiling, my money is on DeAndre Swift, even though I'm still making sure that I'm mixing in almost all of these other guys. Right. So that's kind of the way I'm playing that situation, where I can be overweight on Swift, but I can also be overweight on some of these other guys. I'm obviously not drafting James Conner. I just will never draft James Conner in my entire life. One of those things where like I grit my teeth and like if I'm wrong, whatever, we are fine with it. We just live with that. We live with that L. And we've lived with that L for a few years now. Yeah, Lamar and Jaden Daniels have the same buy. I don't care. Not a big deal to me. I just don't care, guys. Just doesn't bother me. So we are going to grab. I want to do AD Mitchell. Let's grab Mike Williams. Little underweight. Don't really have him with any of these other guys. He mixes into this team pretty well. Allows me to do what I want to do later. So let's do that. So I don't have a chart. And this is the one chart that I do want somebody to make. So if you're a chart maker and you're out there listening, here's what I want. I want over the last 3 years, the weekly combined number for quarterbacks draft, the first 12 quarterbacks drafted on a weekly basis, the number that they get. So if it's averaging that you get 18 points a week with 2 of the top 12s, if you draft 2 of the top 12s, versus every other combination of quarterbacks drafted. Because I'm almost willing to bet that you're getting a sizable number over the rest of the field. So if we're grabbing Jaden Daniels and Lamar Jackson and we're getting an extra point a week, we're making up for that 0 in week 14, right? So that's kind of the way I'm playing that on certain teams. So I think we can just make up the points at the position throughout the first 13 weeks and live and die on that bye. I think we're either all generally we're already going to be in the playoffs or not at that point. So we're going to be fine with it. We can take zeros. Really was hoping for Josh Downs to fall to the 11th round. That was kind of the dream. Just trying to grab Mike Williams, push Josh Downs into the 11th. He might be a little bit far enough down the board, but I know he's been getting steamed up, so I thought it was a low percentage play, which is why I didn't take AD Mitchell to try to leave that bait on the table for someone to grab. But we'll survive. We will survive. I'm just going to grab Jahan Dotson. We're going to scroll down and grab Dotson here. 2 stack with Jaden Daniels, which I'm fine with. And we move on. And we continue onward. What time did the Phillies play? Like 11:30 this morning? Yeah. We like the Phillies today. Yeah. Phillies are a team that have been making me substantial best ball money. Can you not pop the news up on my screen? Thanks. Relax. What is my latest pull up from round 2 into round 1? So that's stuff that I'd be doing at the round 1 turn here. So I, at the 112, have done a lot of Olave. Well, not a lot because I need to do more drafts, specifically BBM. But I grab Olave, Nico, Debo. Those are the guys that I make sure that I pull up. They're rising up on their own as is. So like they're still middle of the board though. So I try to make sure that I'm grabbing those guys with each other, as well as with like a Drake London or a Garrett Wilson or, player X. Waddle was one of them. Waddle's rising up tremendously on his own though. So my favorite round 18 pick, constantly changing. If we're just looking for like a scroll down and sometimes correlate or whatever, I mean, I like grabbing Jawar Jordan, which is likely a player we grab on this team. He's going to make sense. So that might be something we see later. So he's one of the guys that I've been grabbing. See Lloyd go. We're going to grab Jalen Poke. Because now we are just going to hammer wide out to sort of make up a little bit for pushing the wide receiver spot, even though we do get Neighbors, Flowers, and Jaden Reed, which I do like having. We have Kittle and Ingram. Just go through the team real quick. We have Lamar and Jaden Daniels, Bijan, DeAndre Swift, Malik Neighbors, Zay Flowers, Jaden Reed, Mike Williams, Jahan Dotson, Jalen Poke, George Kittle, and Evan Ingram. So really stacked at the 1Z positions. I really like our RB start with Robinson and DeAndre Swift. And wide receiver, we do have 3 really good ones. And we got a mixed bag with the rest of the 3 that we have at the moment. But I'm still confident that we can build a successful team here. I am heading out to the Oddities and Curiosities Expo in Providence, Rhode Island very shortly. So that's where I'm going to head out and check out after this. After we get a baseball parlay together. If you like anything in baseball today, let me know. It doesn't mean I will bet it, but I'm willing to gander. But Phillies -1.5 is going to be one of my 3 legs. I like to do a 3. So what I like to do for baseball, because that's what you guys care about right now when I bet baseball parlays, is I like to do a 3-team parlay generally. And I will bet about $100 on the parlay portion and then do $50 round robin for each leg of the round robin. And as long as you hit one of those 2, it usually, if 2 of the 3 teams win, it usually almost pays back your bet. And if you hit all 3, you do pretty well. So yes. So the Phillies are probably going to be on that block. Logan Webb under 6.5 hits. I was actually thinking of taking San Fran because I liked Logan Webb today. So that is another interesting way to play it, is with his hits under. So I'll consider that. I will consider it. All right, how do we want to play this particular situation? Did I miss Bucky Irving news, by the way? Somebody let me know if I missed some Bucky Irving news. Quentin Johnson has a 7th wideout. Worry about running back shortly. Just get another boom bust guy in there. Yeah, the Reds was one that I was considering as well, Al. Was considering the Reds today. Need to gander again. From what I was reading, the Red Sox are also going to be playing like a bullpen rotation at pitcher today. Yeah, the bad pass blocking. Sure, he's a rookie running back. He's not playing for Tom Brady. I did hear that news, but that's why he's falling, is because he's a bad pass blocker. We don't think he's going to get on the field at all. I mean, I still want to know who the competition is there for him to get playing time. We already know that it's Rashad White's, quote unquote backfield, but I still think that there's going to be some Bucky Irving stuff. So if he's going to fall, cool, I'll take him until we get more information from camp and preseason games. How many have I done so far? I think this is number 32, and I'm usually further ahead than this on my BBM drafts, but I really got caught up in May drafting a bunch of the DK teams because of their promo that they were running. So I think I have like over 50 of the DK one done. And then this month, between traveling and just making sure I hammer some of the, like I said, the $2 drafters one, I was really hammering that, making sure I got some in there. Trying to get my eliminators full was another one. So I'm a little behind. I wanted to have 50 done by the end of June. I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm okay with it. I think that I'm okay with backloading the BBM tournament. If I'm going to backload one, it's fine. I do think I want to take Chuba. I've wanted to take more of him. I think he's going to be fine this year. I just don't see anything coming from Miles Sanders at all. So I think I'm fine with Chuba as like a 14th round pick on a team like this. Well, let's hope not, because I haven't drafted a lot of teams in June. But yeah, sure. We'll take a June drafter. I'll just take any tournament win. But we're really going to ramp up BBM, make it a focal point in July, see what I can get through there, and see where we're at. See where we're at that point. What do we got right now? We have a 2-3-7-2 build. We know that our 2 onesies are done. We have 4 picks left to spread out between running back and wide receiver. Not done with either. So I think I know the allocation I would like to do between both positions, but remains to be seen. I missed this comment. Cole said that news that Rachaad White is impressed by him. That probably hurts his value. Agree, Sladen. I just think that we're going to not see much Miles Sanders this year. And if I can get like 30 to 40% with Chuba Hubbard and him just getting a couple games here and there, especially on a team like this where we've already drafted Bijan and DeAndre Swift, I'm kind of fine with it. Sorry for coughing there. Came out of nowhere. And we're going to be back on the clock here in a second. Deludo. It's really good that we have 19% Roman Wilson when the coaching staff doesn't even know his name. But we're going to scroll down. We're going to grab Luke McCaffrey here. Are we? I don't know what the hell just happened there. So we'll grab Luke McCaffrey as our 8th wideout. And we still have 3 picks left with 8 wide receivers. So I feel like we got recovered quite a bit here in this draft. Ugh. What am I going to wear to an Oddities and Curiosities Festival? If you've been to Providence, you know that there's a lot of oddities and curiosities on clubbing nights, which, God, I say that. Remember when I used to club back 15 years ago? I don't think I've gone to a nightclub in Providence in 15 years, and I'm just over here making... It might be longer. Oh my God, I am old. No, probably 15 years. Pull out the dead merch. Should. I'll probably wear... Maybe I'll wear a Hometown Ghost Story shirt. Yeah, that's probably what I'll do. Represent the company, you know? All right. Now that we've gone 2-3-8-2, we're going to have to see how we're going to finish out this draft. Let's get into this banger. And we are about to be on the clock here. Let's grab Braylon Allen as our 4th RB. I like that. Yeah, the auto drafters can be annoying sometimes because you have to plan. Oh, I made a huge mistake last night that I wanted to bring up on stream. But yeah, because you have to plan out certain picks certain ways. I really made a mistake last night, and these are just like little things that when you're not paying attention, you can mess up. Just like if you're like at the 11 or the 2 spot and you're about to get those 2 picks with the guy sandwiched with 2 picks in between you, I wanted to get a certain quarterback tight end combo. I don't remember exactly who it was off the top of my head. It was later in the draft. It doesn't matter. The point is, I grabbed the quarterback first, and that was a giant mistake because the guy behind me only had 1 tight end and 3 quarterbacks. Should have grabbed the tight end first. He wouldn't have grabbed the quarterback, and he ended up getting the other guy that I wanted. So like if I had just taken the 2 seconds to look. So make sure you're just checking that stuff. What's going on, Tyler? What's up, buddy? Oh no, James. At least it's back on. Yeah, so just make sure that you're I know that's obvious, but sometimes we need to be reminded of the obvious, right? And last night I felt like such a freaking idiot. Look at this little quarterback run. Gino, Bo Nix, Derek Carr, and Will Levis. Gino is a quarterback that I am not taking in this tournament. I've grabbed him a little bit in the $2 drafters because I just think that there are some players that are way better for that tournament, obviously. Who's Moxie? How dare you grab Devontae Walker? He was going to be my 17th round pick. That's fine. Nice pick. Moxie just threw my brain for a pretzel. I had a whole fucking plan here. But we do have 8 wide receivers, so we're kind of good in this spot. This will be the only draft today, by the way. I just don't know if Gino lasts the year in Seattle as the quarterback. I think it's more likely that he does than doesn't, but I think that's like a 55% that he does, 60% that he does. And there's just other players around there at that position, especially. Look at you, Moxie, just getting real fucking fun here. Grabbing Rasheen Ali in the 17th round. I like it. In that case, let's get ourselves a Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the 17th. Yeah, these are not ever fun, Sladen. Never a fun moment. I agree, Tyler. This is kind of the way I'm playing it in these tournaments. But in cumulative scoring, if you're on drafters and you're like, well, I might get 10 weeks out of Gino, like I think it's better, especially if you're doing like a 3 QB build or have an absolute elite quarterback with them that doesn't have like a late round bye, which is tough. A lot of the elites have late buys. This is a good conversation to have at some point. Zach says he's very in on Seattle's offense this year. I'm very in on having a piece of the Seattle offense on every team. I haven't gone out of my way to overly stack. Zach Charbonnet is probably my most overweight Seattle player, so that makes it a little bit more like tough to say otherwise because that's the dude I'm grabbing the most from Seattle. But I like to get a one-off JSN. Obviously, DK Metcalf is a guy that I do like to draft. Even Tyler Lockett. I'm not in on Noah Fant as others, but it doesn't mean I'm not drafting him. He's getting mixed in very particular builds, especially if it's this tournament here. So those are the things that I'm looking at. And we're going to be coming up on our last pick here in the second. Really, really wanted that Tez Walker stack to go with Lamar. Kudos to Moxie for knowing that that was coming from me next. See that? When you know the drafters you're drafting against, you can take advantage of the situations. Jono Smith at 0% in this tournament. That is a guy that I'm trying to come up a little bit on, is to make sure I get him. Obviously not with this team. It's not a team that we want Jono Smith. And that's kind of my problem a lot of the time. But yeah, I think this is going to be a good scroll down team for a 6 and final running back. I want to do 5. Nah, let's grab a 6. Let's just make sure there's no... Let's go ahead and... Let's go on. Let's grab some Jawar Jordan on this particular team. We're just going to double check wide receiver, make sure there's nothing else here that I would like. That makes sense. Nothing that I would like for this team. There are players here that I am grabbing some of on other teams. Oh my God, did you guys remember that Donovan Peoples-Jones played football? I heard his name the other day and I was shocked. Anyways, let's go over our team. We got Lamar and Jaden Daniels with the same bye week. People are losing their minds in the streets. There's rioting. I have to travel state lines to get out of here right now because of how upset people are with these 2 round 14 buys that I have at my quarterback position. At running back, we have Bijan Robinson, DeAndre Swift, Chuba Hubbard, Braylon Allen, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Jawar Jordan. At wide receiver, Malik Neighbors, Zay Flowers, Jaden Reed, Mike Williams, Jahan Dotson, Jalen Poe, Quentin Johnston, and Luke McCaffrey. And at tight end, we have George Kittle and Evan Ingram. So that is going to do it for this particular draft. You know, sometimes we do 2 drafts, sometimes we do 1. Today's going to be one of those days that we only do the 1. It's been a blast, though, everybody. We will catch you maybe tomorrow. I don't know if we're doing a show tomorrow or not, but we might. Catch you tomorrow. Peace. Woo! Those were some spicy takes. Want to stay up to date with all of the other spicy takes we're going to have over here at Spike Week? Why don't you press that subscribe button below? If you turn notifications on, we draft a team, boom, you know about it. We have another spicy take, boom, you know about it. You can be there. You can draft with us. You want to stay up to date? That's how you do it. All right, we'll catch you later next time here at Spike Week.